The man who made electric cars a thing and is currently working on perfecting reusable rockets, space travel, connecting the human brain directly to computers, connecting cities with electromagnetic bullet trains, the Starlink satellite system that's so important to the war in Ukraine. Elon Musk.
What if you had just one wish left in your life? One dream that you held close to your heart, knowing it might be your last chance to see it come true? For a young girl named Emily, that wish wasn't about fame or riches. It wasn't even about herself. It was a simple, heartfelt dream, a wish she believed would never come true. But then, something incredible happened. Emily had always been fascinated by the stars. Even as a child, she would sit by her window, gazing at the night sky, wondering what lay beyond. Her room was filled with posters of rockets, planets, and galaxies. But there was one person she admired most: Elon Musk, the man who dared to dream of a life beyond Earth.
Elon Musk launches the world's most powerful active rocket, catapults his Tesla sports car into space, and vertically lands 2 of the rocket boosters.
To her, he wasn't just a billionaire or a tech genius. He was a symbol of hope, a person who made the impossible possible. As Emily grew older, life threw challenges her way far bigger than she had ever imagined. A rare illness left her battling every single day, her strength fading. But even in her toughest moments, she never stopped dreaming. Her biggest wish: to meet the man who had inspired her to look up when life kept pulling her down. Her story reached the ears of many, but it seemed impossible that someone as busy and famous as Elon Musk would ever notice. Yet fate, as they say, has a strange way of surprising us. One day, out of the blue, a letter arrived. It wasn't just any letter, it was an invitation. Elon Musk had heard Emily's story, and he was determined to fulfill her wish. What followed next is a tale of kindness, dreams, and the extraordinary power of one person's heart. But as you'll soon discover, this story isn't just about meeting a hero. It's about how one final wish can change lives forever, and how even the stars seem closer when someone believes in you. Elon Musk and Lily's wish. Elon Musk sat in his office at Tesla, the steady hum of machines filling the air. His eyes were glued to his computer screen, deep in thought about his next big project. Just then, Clara, his assistant, appeared at the doorway. She clutched a tablet tightly, her face unusually serious. "Elon," she said softly, her voice breaking the quiet. Without looking up, Elon responded, "Unless it's about Mars, it can wait." Clara took a breath. "It's not about Mars," she replied. "It's about someone who thinks you're her hero." That made him pause. He looked up, curiosity flickering in his eyes. Clara stepped forward, placed the tablet on his desk, and pressed play. The screen lit up, showing a young girl lying in a hospital bed. Her skin was pale, and her bald head was wrapped in a bright pink scarf. But her eyes were full of determination. Her voice, though soft, was steady. "Hi, Mr. Musk. My name is Lily, and I'm 9 years old. My dream is to go to Mars, but the doctors say I won't live long enough to see it happen. That's okay. I just have one wish. I want to meet you, even if it's just for one hug." The video ended, leaving the room in heavy silence. Elon leaned back in his chair, staring at the frozen image of Lily's brave smile. "Is this real?" he asked quietly. Clara nodded. Her mom sent it through a charity foundation. Lily has terminal cancer. She doesn't have much time. For a moment, Elon sat still, the weight of the situation sinking in. Then, with a determined look, he asked, "How soon can we make this happen?" Elon didn't know that this one question would change more than just a little girl's life. The car ride to the airstrip was quiet, but Elon's mind was racing. As the driver navigated the empty streets, Elon's thoughts were elsewhere, focused on one mission: bring a smile to a girl who dreamed of the stars. The journey to meet Lily. Elon stared out the window, the city lights blurring past as the car sped toward the airstrip. But his mind wasn't on the view. It was on the video: Lily's voice, her steady hope, and her simple wish. He had been called a hero before, but this felt different. Her words had touched something deep inside him. No achievement, no amount of success had ever made him feel this kind of pressure. As the car rolled to a stop near the private jet, the silence inside was finally broken. Clara, seated beside him, spoke gently. "You don't have to do this," she said softly. "You're already her hero. Even if you stayed here, she would still see you that way." Elon didn't answer right away. He opened the door, stepping into the chilly night. The cool air bit at his skin as he walked toward the jet. At the base of the stairs, he finally stopped and glanced back. "She deserves more than just a video of me," he said quietly. "She deserves something real." Inside the jet, the engines hummed softly, providing a steady background noise. Elon, however, couldn't sit still. He paced the cabin, his footsteps quick and restless. Flying always made him uneasy. The limited space left him trapped with his thoughts, and tonight, those thoughts felt heavier than ever. "What if I let her down?" he muttered, almost to himself. The question lingered in the air, unanswered. From across the cabin, Clara looked up from her tablet. She had been catching up on emails but heard the concern in his voice. "You won't," she said, her tone calm and reassuring. "You don't have to impress her or prove anything. She just wants to meet you." Elon paused for a moment, her words sinking in. This wasn't about being a genius or a visionary. For Lily, it was simply about one thing: meeting the person who inspired her to dream. Elon's journey to meet Lily. "That's exactly why it's so difficult," Elon said quietly, leaning forward with his elbows on his knees. "People see me as something larger than life. To Lily, I'm not just Elon Musk. I'm the person who made Mars possible. What if I don't live up to her expectations?" Clara, sitting across from him, closed her tablet and met his gaze. "Have you ever thought that maybe Lily's expectations aren't what you think?" she asked gently. "She's not asking for Mars. She's asking for a hug. She just wants you." Her words hit Elon harder than he expected. His entire life had been about chasing the extraordinary building rockets and planning for the future. He had spent so much time thinking about the big picture. He rarely stopped to think about the simple power of being present. He glanced out the window, his reflection faintly visible against the dark sky. For years, he had imagined humanity reaching the stars. But tonight, those stars felt different. They felt personal. After a long pause, Clara spoke again. "I don't think it's about what you say or do. Just showing up might be the most heroic thing you've ever done." Elon gave her a small nod, but the tension in his face remained. The jet began its descent, the city lights below sparkling like a scattered galaxy. The hospital wasn't far now. As the wheels touched down, Elon realized this wasn't just a trip to meet Lily, it was a step into the unknown. He wasn't sure what awaited him, but he knew he had to be there. The hospital loomed ahead, its fluorescent lights flickering faintly in the early morning darkness. Clara walked a step behind Elon, clutching her tablet, her expression a mix of nerves and determination. A nurse met them and led them through the quiet, sterile hallways toward the pediatric oncology ward. When they reached Lily's room, Elon noticed the door was decorated with colorful, hand-drawn pictures of rockets, planets, and a slightly wobbly but charming sketch of the SpaceX logo. A small nameplate read, "Lily's Space Adventures." Elon hesitated for a moment, his hand resting on the doorframe. Clara gently touched his arm. "She's been waiting for this," she whispered. Taking a deep breath, Elon stepped inside. The room was small but filled with life. Posters of constellations and Mars rovers covered the walls. By the window, a telescope stood ready, its lens pointed toward the night sky. On the bedside table lay a notebook titled Mission Log, its pages filled with scribbles, dreams, and sketches. In the center of it all was Lily. She sat up in bed, her frail body supported by pillows, her head wrapped in a bright pink scarf. Her face lit up the moment she saw him. "Mr. Musk," she whispered, her voice soft but filled with wonder. Elon knelt by her bedside, a small smile forming on his lips. "Hi, Lily," he said gently. "I've been looking forward to meeting you." "You must be Lily," Elon said softly, smiling. "I've heard you're a big fan of Mars." Lily giggled, her laugh weak but full of joy. "Yes, I've been practicing for zero gravity," she said, lifting her thin arms as if she was floating. The sound of her laughter filled the room. "Do you think I'd make a good astronaut?" Elon chuckled. "I think you'd be one of the best, but astronauts have to train hard." Lily held out her pinky, her eyes wide with determination. "Deal?" For a moment, Elon hesitated. The words caught in his throat, but he linked his pinky with hers. "Deal." They sat together, chatting about rockets and space. Lily showed him her notebook, filled with drawings and plans for her own Mars adventure. She had even drawn herself in a spacesuit, standing proudly next to a SpaceX rocket. Elon traced the shaky lines in her notebook with his finger, feeling a tightness in his chest. "You've thought of everything," he said, his voice thick with emotion. "You'd be an amazing mission commander." Lily's face lit up, her cheeks turning a soft pink. "Do you think I could go to Mars someday?" she asked, her eyes full of hope. Elon met her gaze, his eyes soft. "I think you already have." As they continued talking, Lily's mother appeared in the doorway. Her face showed both relief and exhaustion, and her hands trembled slightly. "Thank you for coming," she said quietly. "You've made her so happy." Elon stood up and walked over to her. "She's an extraordinary girl," he said. "I'm the lucky one to meet her." Lily's mother smiled through her tears. "She wrote something for you," she said, holding out a small envelope. "She wanted you to have it." Elon took the envelope, feeling its weight even before opening it. He slid it into his pocket, knowing this moment would stay with him forever. He wasn't ready for how much it would change him. Back at the hotel, Elon sat by the window, the envelope still unopened in his hands. He had read hundreds of letters over the years, letters thanking him for his work, for his vision, for the hope he inspired. But this one felt different. He knew it was special. The city lights twinkled faintly outside as he carefully unfolded the paper. The handwriting was shaky but clear, each word carefully chosen. "Dear Mr. Musk, thank you for making my dream come true. Meeting you was the best day of my life. When you go to Mars, please take a piece of me with you. Even if I can't go, I want to be part of the journey. Love." Elon sat there, holding the letter in his hands, feeling the weight of her words. Elon and Lily's conversation. Elon stared at the letter for a long time, feeling a tightness in his chest. Despite all his achievements and the barriers he had broken, this simple note felt heavier than anything he had ever done. The next morning, he returned to the hospital. The bright energy that had filled Lily's room the day before was now gone. The room felt quieter. When Lily saw him, she smiled, but it was a weaker smile. Her cheeks looked pale. Elon sat carefully beside her bed, trying not to show the worry he felt. "You've got quite a fan club," he said with a light smile, holding up the notebook she had given him. "I had to fight Clara to keep this." Lily's soft laugh was more of a whisper. "It's my mission log," she explained. "Every astronaut needs one." Elon nodded, his tone serious. "It's the best mission log I've ever seen." Lily shifted a little in bed, her small hands gripping the blanket. Her voice was quiet as she asked, "Mr. Musk, why do you want to go to Mars?" The question caught Elon off guard. He paused for a moment, choosing his words carefully. "Because Mars is a second chance," he said softly. "It's a way to make sure humanity survives, no matter what happens to Earth." Lily didn't look away. "It's about dreaming big, isn't it?" Elon gave a small smile. "Something like that." "I like that," she said thoughtfully. "I think big dreams are important." She paused, her small hands nervously fiddling with the edge of her blanket. "Mr. Musk, can I ask you something else?" "Anything," Elon replied. Lily hesitated, her eyes searching his face for a moment. "When you go to Mars, will you take me with you?" For a second, the room felt like it stopped. Elon didn't know how to respond. Elon felt the weight of Lily's questions settle in his heart, heavier than any rocket he had ever launched. He leaned closer, his voice steady but full of emotion. "I promise, Lily," he said softly, You'll be with us every step of the way." Her smile returned, faint but radiant. "Really?" she whispered. "Really?" Elon said firmly. "You'll always be part of Mars." As she closed her eyes and drifted off to sleep, Elon realized this wasn't just a promise. It was a mission he couldn't fail. The next morning, when Elon arrived at the hospital, he immediately noticed how quiet it was. The usual hum of machines was softer, and the nurses' voices were hushed. Lily's mother met him at the door of her room. Her eyes were red, but her face was determined. "She's been asking for you," she said quietly, stepping aside to let him in. Lily was sitting up in bed, propped on her pillows. Her pink scarf was slightly crooked, and she looked smaller today. But when she saw Elon, her smile was as bright as ever. "Hi, Mr. Musk," she whispered. Elon sat beside her and gently took her small hand. "Hi, Commander Lily," he said, forcing a smile. "How's the mission log coming along?" She giggled softly, her voice proud but weak. "It's almost ready for launch," she said. "But I wanted to give you something first." Lily's mother handed her a small piece of paper folded into the shape of a star. Lily held it out with trembling hands. "This is for you," she said, "so you can take it to Mars." Elon took the star carefully, feeling its delicate weight. The edges were uneven, the folds imperfect, but it was the most precious thing he had ever held. "Thank you," he said, his voice thick with emotion. "I'll make sure this reaches Mars." Lily's eyes sparkled. "You promise?" "I promise," Elon said firmly. "This star will go farther than any star has ever gone." For a moment they sat in silence, the hum of the machines filling the room. Then Lily looked at him, her expression serious. "Mr. Musk," she said softly, "I don't think I'll be here much longer." Elon's throat tightened. "You'll always be here, Lily," he said quietly. "Every time I look at the stars, I'll see you." Her smile returned, faint but radiant. "Do you think people will remember me?" "Of course they will," Elon replied. "You're going to be part of something so big, so extraordinary. People will talk about you for generations. You've already made history." Lily's eyes closed briefly, her breath shallow. When she opened them again, the room was quiet except for the soft beeping of machines. She whispered, "I'll watch from the stars." Elon stayed by her side until she finally drifted off to sleep, her hand still holding his. When Lily's mother re-entered the room, her face streaked with tears, Elon stood up. He gently placed the folded star in his pocket before quietly leaving. He knew that Lily's star wasn't just a gift, it was a promise, one he would carry with him, no matter where life took him. The next morning, Clara received the call. Elon sat in his office, gazing out at the horizon as the sun began to rise. He hadn't slept much, but the folded paper star remained on his desk, beside the letter. Clara's voice was soft when she entered. "She passed early this morning." The words hit him hard like a punch to the gut. He didn't move at first, his eyes still fixed on the skyline. For a man who solved so many impossible problems, this was one truth he couldn't change. Elon exhaled slowly, stood up, and slipped the star into his pocket. "Thank you," he whispered, his voice barely audible. Later that day, Elon went back to the hospital to see Lily's mother. She sat in the same chair where she had waited countless times before. Her face was full of grief, but also a quiet strength. "She talked about you until the very end," Lily's mother said. "She said you gave her everything she ever dreamed of." Elon reached into his pocket and pulled out the folded star. "She gave me this," he said softly, "and I made her a promise." Lily's mother nodded, tears streaming down her face. "She believed in you. She always said you could do anything." Elon placed a hand gently on her shoulder, a rare moment of comfort from someone who usually kept his emotions hidden. "She'll always be a part of everything I do," he said quietly. After his visit, he returned to SpaceX headquarters, his steps heavy but purposeful. Elon walked into the design lab, where the latest rocket prototype was being prepared for testing. He pulled the folded star from his pocket and turned to the engineers. "I need this to go to Mars," he said simply. "It has to be part of the first mission." The team looked at him, a mix of confusion and respect on their faces. No one questioned him. The star was carefully sealed inside a compartment made to carry mementos and messages to humanity's future home. In the days that followed, Elon worked tirelessly, his focus sharper than it had been in years. Every decision, every calculation, carried the weight of Lily's dream. She wasn't just an inspiration. She reminded him of why he started this journey in the first place. Weeks later, during a press conference, a reporter asked about the small personal items being sent on the Mars mission. Elon paused for a moment, his voice steady, but filled with emotion. "A little girl named Lily gave me something," he said finally. "She dreamed of going to Mars, but she couldn't make the journey herself, so I'm taking her with us. She'll always be part of this mission." The room fell silent, the weight of his words sinking in. As Elon stood beneath the towering rocket on launch day, the paper star safely inside, he realized that Lily hadn't just changed his life. She had become part of his legacy. The day of the Mars launch arrived with a sky so clear it seemed the universe itself had opened its arms. The SpaceX facility was buzzing with activity, and engineers and scientists moved with precision as the countdown approached. Cameras from major news outlets focused on the gleaming rocket. Elon stood in the control room, his eyes fixed on the rocket through reinforced glass. The folded paper star sat inside a compartment near the heart of the payload. It wasn't just a keepsake, it was a promise fulfilled. 30 minutes to launch, Clara said softly, standing beside him. She had been unusually quiet that day, aware of the weight this mission carried. Elon nodded, but his thoughts were with Lily. Her laughter, her determination, her belief in something bigger than herself. She had taught him something unexpected, the power of small moments to change history. The voice of the launch director echoed through the room. "Final systems check complete. All systems go." Elon reached for the microphone and addressed the team. "This launch isn't just about Mars," he said, his voice steady but tinged with emotion. "It's about hope. About dreams that reach beyond the limits of time and space, and it's about the people who inspire us to be better. Today, we carry one of those people with us." The room fell silent. Clara placed a hand on his shoulder, offering quiet support. 10 minutes to launch," the voice announced. Outside, the rocket stood like a monument to human ambition. Elon's eyes never left it as the final seconds ticked away. He whispered, "This is for you, Lily." The engines roared to life, shaking the very earth beneath them. The rocket lifted off, its flame trail cutting through the sky like a shooting star. The control room erupted in cheers, but Elon remained still, watching until the rocket disappeared. Months later, when the first Mars rover transmitted images back to Earth, one photo showed a small makeshift memorial inside the habitat. Encased in glass was Lily's paper star, along with a plaque that read, "For Lily, who dreamed of the stars and became one of them." The image went viral, inspiring millions of children around the world to draw their stars and send them to SpaceX, along with letters about their dreams of space exploration. Schools named projects after Lily, and her story became a symbol of resilience, hope, and the boundless reach of human imagination. Elon visited the memorial years later, standing beneath the harsh Martian sky. The red soil stretched endlessly before him, a testament to the dreams he and countless others had fought for. But his gaze was fixed on the star, its folds slightly weathered but still intact. "You made it, Lily," he whispered, his voice barely audible in the thin Martian air. "We made it." Back on Earth, people continued to tell Lily's story, the little girl who dreamed of Mars, the man who carried her dream to the stars, and the legacy that reminded everyone that no dream is too small to change the universe. And somewhere far beyond the reach of Earth, Lily's star shines brighter than ever. As the years passed, Lily's story continued to inspire people all around the world. Her dream of going to Mars was no longer just a wish, it had become a symbol of hope, courage, and the power of believing in something greater than ourselves. Elon Musk, who had once promised to carry Lily's dream to the stars, had fulfilled that promise, ensuring that her legacy would live on in the vastness of space. People from all walks of life found strength in her story. Children drew stars and sent them to SpaceX, hoping their dreams might reach the same heights. Schools held events, sharing Lily's journey and teaching the importance of perseverance and imagination. Her name became a beacon of inspiration for anyone who dared to dream big, no matter how impossible it might seem. In the end, it wasn't just about the stars or Mars or even the rocket. It was about the impact one young girl had on the world, a reminder that no matter where we are, no dream is too small. Even the most fragile of hopes, like Lily's folded paper star, can reach the stars if we keep believing. As we continue to explore the universe, to push the boundaries of what we know, let us remember the little girl who dreamed of the stars. Her spirit will always guide us, urging us to keep dreaming, keep striving, and never stop reaching for the impossible. Because as Lily proved, sometimes the smallest dreams can change the course of history. So let her story be a reminder to all of us. Dream big, aim high, and never stop believing, because you never know where your dreams might take you.